Well, what a difference a week makes. Got to tell you, a week ago, I was in the money. I had some money coming to me. I was finally going to win an NCAA pool. And then, nope, nothing doing. The only person, one of the few people in the pool not to pick Connecticut to win. And because of that, Sean loses again.
Wah, wah.
Dude, I think I've been in pools 35 years. I think I've been in NCAA bracket since I was 11.
That's about right.
Run the damn thing. And when I ran it, it was I was running it round by round, which was kind of awesome in high school when you would come in every single day with new sheets.
Yep.
I mean,
I ran mine in the Dickie V annual pool.
But did you run them in different, like round by round, or did you have the entire sheet filled out at the beginning?
Entire sheet filled out in the beginning.
Okay, I ran it round by round. So you picked the first.
Fork.
Yeah. That says it all. So a week ago, the Islanders were not in the playoffs, and now they're in the playoffs as of last night.
Are they? Congratulations.
Well, so far, so good. They still got a couple of games to go, but not. Yeah, hopefully we'll see. But they beat the Rangers last night in a resounding 4-2 win. So yes, thank you. A week ago, John Calipari was the highest paid coach in the country and paid by Kentucky. And that's
now he's not.
Right. To be fair, if there was one thing that I predicted in the NCAA tournament, I got Calipari right. I called you when that happened and said, I think this is the end of John.
You did.
And he goes to Arkansas. Seth, who the heck is taking that job? Who wants the job? Nate Oates has already said no, right? I mean, look, Pitino would be fantastic. That would be the greatest story of the entire year, is if Pitino comes full circle. He could bring his strippers back with him. And, I mean, now the players could be sponsored by a strip club, which means NIL for everybody. You know that's got to happen at some point, right? I mean,
probably. Yeah.
The only thing that doesn't happen is sponsorship and betting, I think, is the only thing that probably cannot happen. But so my take is that John Calipari is going to take his number 2 recruiting class and bring them to Arkansas.
Probably. And guys like Aaron Bradshaw are going to leave Kentucky because you have Reed Shepherd, who's probably going pro. You have the other one, Dillingham, who's probably going pro. Bradshaw's already said he's going to the portal. Kind of leaves you in that range. Who do I think? Look, I think they're going to get a C choice. My gut, again, I don't. Oates said no. Donovan said no.
How about Scott Drew?
I think Sean Miller.
Sean Miller is an unenthusiastic choice, no?
Well, he won at Arizona a lot. He just couldn't get to the Final Four.
Sure.
Gets into trouble, goes back to Xavier, wins at Xavier, goes to Arizona, wins at Arizona, goes back to Xavier, wins at Xavier. I think he wants one more shot at the big run.
But he went 17. I think he went 18 and 17 at Xavier this year. So,
okay. What is his career record winning percentage? Like 78%?
I'm going to get that for you. Sean Miller career record. He is a 73% winning percentage. 73%.
Okay. Now, to be fair, he's never been to a final.
71%. 71%.
So, I mean, look, as you said, you're not getting Jay Wright's not walking through that door.
Yeah, last year he goes 16 and 18. Now, the year before he went 27 and 10. I mean, I get that, but 16 and 18 last year.
Yeah, not saying it's sensational. It's not. But, I mean, you're going to get a big-time name. Miller is a big-time name. And Kentucky is kind of a flash school. They want that
Sure.
pizzazz. So Oates would have worked. Donovan would have worked. I mean, Shaka Smart, I don't think he's leaving. I think he's happy where he is.
Do you at Marquette?
I think so. He's a Wisconsin guy.
So Sean Miller, Bryce Drew at all? The Baylor guy?
You mean Scott Drew?
Scott Drew?
I can see Scott Drew.
I
just don't know.
I can't see Matt Cronin coming back from UCLA. That
No.
doesn't make sense.
No, I don't
Hurley's
see that
definitely. What about Bobby Hurley?
Bobby Hurley hasn't done anything.
You could say the same thing about Sean Miller too.
Sean Miller is like a career 70. He's been like 4 Final Eights. Sean Miller's done a decent job. Bobby Hurley I think, doesn't have a job at this point. Is he still at Arizona State?
I think so. He is still at
Arizona
State.
Look at his career record.
So his career record is 56%. He coached at Buffalo and Arizona State.
Did he ever make a Sweet 16?
Now, don't know. I'm going to check that. I don't believe so. So he was, maybe in 2017, 2018. I don't know. Let's say no. Let's say
he's not a heavyweight coach.
No, that's true. So Sean Miller, you consider a heavyweight coach?
Yeah, I do.
Okay. Look, Mike Hopkins needs a job. I mean,
he could be a great number 2. He could be a great number 2 there.
At Syracuse. He can return to Syracuse and be the number 2. So it's definitely not an up-and-coming job, right? It's not an assistant job. That job has to be. I mean, if I were Kentucky, I'd hire the offensive guy from Connecticut, Bill Murray's son. Give him a 5-year contract and say, go. I mean, at the end of the day, the game has changed, right? The position stayed the same. Is Kentucky first, are blue bloods still blue bloods or are they blue bloods in the name only at this point?
Depends.
Is there any advantage to being a blue blood? I guess is the best question. Sure.
You don't think Duke can still get any recruit they want?
I do.
You don't think Kentucky had 5 top before this year? Kentucky brought in 5 top 30 guys last year.
But hold on. But is recruiting in the age of NIL and in the age of transfer portal, is a freshman recruit as valuable as a junior recruit?
Well, obviously not, because John Calipari hasn't gotten out of the first round 3 of the last 4 years.
But that's my point. So what I'm saying is a blue blood. So the blue bloods, Duke, UCLA, Kentucky, UNC, right?
Okay.
You can recruit freshmen there. I think that works very well. Are you recruiting the new age player? NC State had how many players get significant minutes that started as a freshman at NC State? Zero.
Yeah, it's a new era. I don't know where you're going with it. I mean,
I'm saying
there's still a cachet to it. People still want it. Look, if someone kills it in Maryland,
sure,
and they're not from Maryland,
sure,
and Kansas offers them $2 million to jump, they're going to jump.
Yep. But are they jumping because it's Kansas, or are they jumping because it's $2 million? That's my question.
Okay, rephrase. They go to North Carolina, offers them $500,000. Just what Maryland's offering, but it's North Carolina. Good chance they're jumping.
Okay, so let's play the other card, right? Utica College offers you $2 million, and North Carolina offers you $500,000. Which one are you going to? You're probably going to Utica College.
I'm going to Utica.
But that's what I'm saying. So is the blue blood? I get all things being equal, right?
All things being equal, the blue blood still has a place.
Right.
Does it have the same impact as it did 20 years ago? No.
So does the job offer so the job has all the expectations, right? It doesn't matter that the job. It doesn't matter that the landscape has changed. Calipari saw that firsthand. The expectations are we want Final Fours. We want Sweet 16. Getting to the tournament is not enough. This is what we need. Does the expectation, is the job worth the expectations?
Of course it is. You're getting paid $7 to $10 million a year.
But you can get Nate Oates gets $7 to $10 million at Alabama.
No, it's not. I don't think he's getting that. He may be getting it now. He wasn't getting it then.
But I think that's my point, right? I'm sorry. Maybe I'm not getting my point out. My point is trying to be, is the job. I get the money, right? Money. I get it. Money. Show me the money. I get all that. Is the job worth the stress that goes with the job? Because Danny Hurley said no.
You know why Danny Hurley said no?
Well, Danny Hurley said no because Danny Hurley's the most powerful person at the University of Connecticut right now. For the same
number 2.
Behind who?
Gino.
Okay. For the same reason Jim Boeheim didn't leave. For the same reason John Thompson didn't leave.
He's also
didn't leave.
His persona is Northeast. He fits Northeast well. I saw someone talking about it, and I think they're right.
I agree. I agree with that, but my point is, I guess I'm trying to get my point across, is that I don't believe the job is a good job. Is it light years above every other job at this point anymore? No. I didn't see not even close.
Well, no.
You want to say Duke? I'm with you. You want to say North Carolina? I might be with you. I'm not with you for any other school.
Duke, North Carolina, Kansas are still there.
Right. And probably because I think the pressure of Kentucky is actually greater than those other schools.
Could be.
And it's unwarranted pressure. That's what I'm getting at. Who the heck wants to go to Kentucky? Hank Iba, Adolph Rupp. Nobody cares about those guys anymore.
Hank Iba didn't coach at Kentucky.
Oh, sorry. Adolph Rupp, Pat Riley, right? Pat Riley played at Kentucky.
He played. He didn't coach.
Right. Yeah. But my point is, nobody cares about them. Nobody cares that Rick Pitino once coached there. Nobody cares how many championships
I agree. It's a different world.
Won. History no longer. People don't go to UCLA because John Wooden won 9 straight championships. History doesn't matter anymore.
Yeah, I get it.
Short-term history. By the way, so I just saw, and we're going to move on to the NBA because again, we're up to playoff time or close to it. I just saw an ESPN article on why Glenn Taylor in some ways backed out. So next year, we talked about this. The check is coming due for the Minnesota Timberwolves, right? I mean, that salary structure, woo! Karl Anthony Towns, $50 million. Rudy Gobert, $50 million. Anthony Edwards, $40 million. Mike Conley, $15 million. That's 4 guys, and you're at the tax with those 4 guys. And they have Kyle Anderson as a free agent. They got Monte Morris as a free agent. And they got Jaden McDaniels at $30 million. I mean, that's not to say Jaden McDaniels isn't worth $30 million, but this is the Minnesota Timberwolves. This is
I can say Jaden McDaniels is not worth $30 million.
In today's landscape, he might be. He was going to get it from somebody. Devin Vassell got $30 million. In today's landscape, he was going to make $30 million. So altogether, what is that? 50, 100, 40, 140, 170. You're already at about 190 to 200, and that's before Kyle Anderson, Monte Morris, and anybody else. That's like the top 5 guys. Reports are from ESPN that Alex Rodriguez and his partner, I forgot his partner's name, Mark something. Yeah. It begins with an L, doesn't it? Mark Lowry wanted to bring the payroll down to $171 million next year.
How are you going to do that?
You're going to trade Karl Anthony Towns without any reservation. You have to trade Towns. So what else? Now, to be fair, the team has played very well without Towns in this past year. But if you just have Gobert for next year, looking at next year's structure, which I love to do because we all know I love salary cap stuff. Gobert is at 43. Edwards is at 35. That's 83. Jaden's at 22. 83 is 105. Naz Reid at 13. 105. 105. 118. Conley at 10. 128. So you're trading Karl Anthony Towns, and you may not be able to sign anybody else. That's how you do it. So this first place Minnesota Timberwolves. Now, let that sink in. They are still in first place. They have gone 8-2 in their last 10 without Karl Anthony Towns. By the way, bravo. Because I definitely thought that they were dropping. We both did. We both said, where are they going to wind up? They are in first place without Karl Anthony Towns. And by the way, welcome to the big-time Anthony Edwards, because if nothing else came out of this, he is a prime – in Dick Vitale world, he is a PTPer. He is an absolute PTPer. So they were going to drop it. So of all the times that you were coming out and saying, oh, we're going to drop salary next year, this is not the time when you're a Timberwolves fan. You want to at least enjoy it.
We'll enjoy this year, what it is.
So right now, you have the Timberwolves and Nuggets tied at first. The Thunder 1 game behind. The Clippers and Mavericks at 4 and 5. The Pelicans have dropped. By the way, the Mavericks are 9-1 in their last 10.
Yeah.
The Pelicans are in the 6th position, but barely in the 6th position. The Suns are in 7, Kings 8, Lakers 9, and Warriors 10. And we have the play-in matchup that we wanted. We're going to see the Lakers and Golden State next week.
Feels like it.
Did you see any of the scoring yet? Any of the games last night?
A little bit of Milwaukee, Boston, a little bit of Golden State. I had it on in the background.
Okay, so if you didn't turn on it, it doesn't sound like you did. The Suns and Clippers. So the Suns and Clippers at the end of the first half was 67-33.
Ooh.
By the way, last night, who played? Bradley Beal, Devin Booker, and KD.
So I assume they were up by 33, not down by 33.
They were up. No, they were down by 33.
Were they really?
They were down by 33 at the end of the first half. Now, they lost by 13, so they came back. But who the heck cares at that point? Oh, by the way, I forgot to mention Kawhi Leonard didn't play. We keep waiting for this Phoenix Suns team to appear, right? The one that is going to – that we got these 3 guys and they're going to make it work, and somehow they're going to make it work. Seth, we're running out of time for that.
Yeah, we're kind of at that point.
And at some point, you have to say, maybe this isn't going to work this year. And the problem is, generally, you're okay with that, right? Because you're like, oh, they'll take another year and get better and yada, yada, yada. KD ain't no spring chicken. Bradley Beal ain't no spring chicken. And this is the healthiest that KD's been in a long time. And they are right now in the play-in game, in the play-in tournament.
Jesus. Who would they play? They play Golden.
So the winner of 9-10, right? So the
which is Lakers Warriors, right?
Yeah. I want to get the format just because I've done this 1,000 times wrong. So the play-in games, So 7 to 10 will enter the play-in. So 7 will host 8, with the winner getting the 7 seed.
The winner gets the 7, and then the loser plays the winner of 9-10.
Right. Okay. So 7-8 is the Kings versus the Suns in game 1.
Okay.
And then the Lakers play the Warriors in game 2. Just the West. So the winner, so if the Suns lose that game, they would play the winner of the Lakers and Warriors. Again, another look, the play-in will be great, right?
Yeah.
I mean, to me, that's absolutely must-see basketball. That is next Tuesday, Wednesday, and Friday. So I've been watching a lot of NBA this year. I am looking forward to the play-ins. But for those people, and Zach Lowe says this every single week on his podcast, for those that are saying, well, which team out of the Lakers and Warriors has a chance to make a run, he says this quite succinctly. Only one of them is going to get a chance to do anything, because one of them is going to lose that first 9-10 game, and they'll be out. They're going to play each other.
What's the difference between the 8 and 9? Do either team do anything?
In a half a game right now.
Okay, so there's also a decent chance that they're not.
Oh, yeah. Oh, look, the Suns are at 9 games out. The Kings are at 10 games out. The Lakers are at 10.5, and the Warriors are at 11. I mean, those. But remember, there's only like 4 games left in the season.
Yeah.
We're not talking a lot of games here. So if you're looking at what the Lakers have to do in their schedule coming up, hold on a second. So their schedule, I'm sorry, they only have 2 games left. They play at Memphis and at New Orleans. So at Memphis, at New Orleans, they only got 2 games. For them to jump out, they have to win both games, and the Kings have to lose 3 games because they own the tiebreaker. The Warriors are 11 games. For them to jump, they have to win both games. And it's a lot to lose. You're not playing each other. Last night, the Warriors beat the Lakers. They crushed the Lakers, which gave them a chance to at least jump the Lakers because now they have that tiebreaker. So the Warriors play the Jazz, the Pelicans, and the Trailblazers. They can win all 3 of those games. Pelicans are at home. They win all 3. The Lakers win 2, and they have the home court advantage in that 1 game. Now, Jamal Crawford said this on TNT last night. Is there a more talented backcourt in NBA history? And, of course, he brings up NBA history than Kyrie and Luka. And I struggled with it. Couldn't come up with it.
Hold on. I got to jump off for 30 seconds.
All right, jumping. So, Kyrie and Luka as a backcourt, the most talented in NBA history. So, you put Clay and Steph Curry, right? They're obviously in there. Clyde and Earl Monroe might be in there. I don't believe Oscar played with anybody that you would fundamentally put in that category. Magic and nobody. Jordan and nobody. Jerry West and nobody. Maybe the Celtics. I know Seth knows more about Celtics history than I do, but maybe Kuzi and somebody. It's not Dennis Johnson and Danny Ainge. We know that. That's not in there. So I think it's a matter of could Jamal Crawford, and by the way, Jamal Crawford's very good on TNT. Could Jamal Crawford be right? I think he has a point. So looking at the top 6, the Timberwolves, the Nuggets, and they play tonight. And the winner of that game will have the tiebreaker. That is a 10 p.m. game. That is a little bit past my bedtime. I might see the beginning of that game. I was hoping it was a 9 p.m. start, but 10 p.m. start. Oklahoma City Thunder are 1 game behind. The Clippers are in the 4 spot. They're 4 games out. The Mavericks are 6. So really, we know who 1 through 3 is going to be. We just don't know the order of 1 through 3. So 1 through 3. We went on to Seth, but Seth was not ready. 1 through 3 is the Timberwolves, Nuggets, and Thunder. We're just not sure of the order yet. And remember, that 8 seed, whoever comes out of the play-in game, the 8 will play the 1, the 2, and the 7, right? So when the Nuggets have – I know teams are hunting and trying not to play the Nuggets, but good luck trying to figure that out. So back to my I was trying to figure out a more talented backcourt than Kyrie and Luka. I couldn't come up with one. Maybe an old Celtic backcourt, but
Clyde and Earl the Pearl?
That was I said Clyde and Earl the Pearl, and I said Steph and Clay. But other than that, I couldn't come up with a backcourt because Jordan didn't play with anybody worthy enough. Magic didn't play with anybody. Oscar didn't play with anybody. Any Celtics in there? Older Bob Cousy and somebody. Okay.
Bob Cousy and Bill Sharman's a nice one.
Jerry West and somebody.
Jerry West didn't play with anyone good enough at that level.
So that's it, right? I mean, it's Clay, Steph, Luka, Kyrie, and as far and I mean those would be and maybe Earl and Clyde. That's it for me. I couldn't come up with anybody else. I thought Jamal Crawford brought that up last night on TNT. I thought it was a pretty good statement. By the way, Luka, they're 9-1. And I think they are the second most dangerous team in the West.
Behind Denver?
Behind Denver. I think that I still have absolutely no idea on how Luka makes baskets. Every time that he shoots, I'm thinking he's kind of like Caitlin Clark in the fact that it's like you don't see the athleticism and it's just there, right? Like, you look at him and you look at Jokic and you're kind of like, okay, these guys don't look like athletes. They look like bouncers more than they look like athletes. And they are tremendous. And Luka can hit from anywhere. He had a great move last night and then Kyrie they have been able to play off of each other, Batman, Robin, Robin, Batman, throughout the last 9 games. And you've seen Lively and Gafford in the middle, supplemented with PJ Washington and those pieces that finally fit together. Right now, they're the 5 seed. They're probably set in the 5 seed. Do they play the Clippers right now? Yes, please. Yes, please for entertainment. Yeah. I got to think Kawhi's probably matching up against Luka, and I like to see that. And then Paul George, I guess, is on Luka, and Kawhi's on Kyrie. I like that. All right, moving on to the East. Right? Do you give anybody a chance? First of all, Giannis went out last night. I'm not sure if you saw.
I did. I saw it. It's a calf issue. There's no torn ACL.
Right. Which I saw that this morning. I was like, whoo, okay, no torn Achilles. But all right, so you got the Celtics who are 14 games up, 62-17. A great article, by the way, on The Athletic about Kristaps Porzingis today, if you're looking for something to read. The Bucks have 14 games back, the Knicks at 15, the Magic at 16, the Cavs at 16, and the Pacers at 60.5. And then the Heat, the 76ers at 70.5. I look at the Cavs and go, at 3-7 in their last 10 and dropping down and down and down. And I look at the Knicks at 6-4, but looking at how Jalen Brunson seems to score when he's like the anti-Luka. He looks incredibly athletic, and I still have no idea on how he scores when everybody wants to stop him. But look, you got lurking those 76ers who have won 6 straight games and right now in the play-in. And if they stay in the play-in and they get that 7 seed, do you want the 2 seed if you're the Knicks? Because, yes, let's go play Joel Embiid. That sounds like a good idea in the first round.
Considering how beat up they are, no.
OG came back. OG Anunoby came back last night. So congrats on that. I think he scored about 24. They played well. When he plays, they play well. But, I don't know. if you're the Celtics, you play the Sixers, you play the Heat. Do you really care who you play? If you're the Celtics,
no. If you are as good as you've been this regular season, and you are concerned about that, about who you're playing until you hit the finals, I mean, you can't not make the finals this year. You just can't. Look, Milwaukee hasn't been much of a threat. Philly, the Knicks are a nice story, but the Knicks are not beating the Celtics in a conference finals. Neither is Cleveland, neither is Orlando. Orlando's a really nice story. I would actually like to see Indiana make a run or two because they're fun to watch, but they can't beat. None of these teams can beat Boston 4 out of 7.
Look, I believe that there is one team that can beat them, and that's the Sixers. If they are
healthy, yeah,
if they are on point. And I'd like to get that out earlier rather than later. Like, let's do that in the first round or the second round. So I think it was Bobby Marks on Zach Lowe's podcast that it says, so if you want ultimate stress and ultimate excitement, what you want is Embiid in the 8th spot, right? The Sixers to come up in the 8th spot, and for them to win Game 1 in Boston, and then 2 days off, and just see the internet blow up.
Would Mark Rubin have a heart attack?
Yeah, it was Tim Bontemps actually, but yes, he's like it would be amazing theater to see. Because every time the Celtics lose, it's the end of the world. Now, the Celtics have only lost 17 times. So it's like, yeah, they are 35-3 at home. They are 15-1 in the division. They are a plus 11.3 points. Like, they're 39-10 in the conference. This is historic numbers. I think you're absolutely right. If you are worried, if you're the Celtics, you should not be worried about anybody. You should be worried about playing your game, and you should be worried about keeping the health of Kristaps Porzingis. Because if he goes out, that team
has a big problem.
We said this at the beginning of the year. The only thing that team does not have is front court depth. They have everything else, but they do not have front court depth, and that's a problem. So I would like to bring up the fact that Trae Young is returning tonight. So
he's been out for, God, how long has he been out for?
About a month.
Feels longer.
And
to be fair, this time of year, everything feels longer. So
and in that month, though, Seth, they have worked themselves back into the playoff picture because now they're in the play-in game. And here comes Trae Young. And the one thing, and to be fair, they're 6-4 in their last 10. They've lost their last 3. They went to double overtime, I think, last night against Miami. The one thing that is certainly clear is one of these guys is getting traded this summer. There is no way that they are going into next season with this two-headed abomination of a backcourt. Now, I will take the big L because I totally thought that this would work out. I definitely was all on the DeJounte Murray. This is going to work for Trae Young. This is going to make it happen. But I will tell you, being a guy that's in Atlanta, the better trade for the Hawks would be to trade Trae Young.
Agreed.
But he is so immersed in this city that you are basically trading. Who would I put this? It's like trading Jimmy Butler. It's like trading Dwayne Wade. That's a better word. If you put Dwayne Wade and LeBron,
really,
if Wade and LeBron did not work out, you had to trade one of them. You would have traded Wade because LeBron was LeBron. But if you traded Wade out of Miami, that would have been a problem.
You're comparing Trae Young's popularity in Atlanta to Dwayne Wade's popularity. Does Atlanta even know they have a basketball team?
Yes.
They do.
I
Okay.
am telling you, Seth, I have not seen another jersey of any Hawk other than Trae Young. Not
Wow.
one. Not one. Look, if you went to the Heat games during the Dwayne Wade era, right? You would see Udonis Haslem jerseys. You'd
Yeah.
see old Shaq jerseys. You'd see LeBron jerseys. You see Boss jerseys. You might even see a Mike Miller jersey every once in a while, or a Tim Hardaway jersey, right? You may even, if you're lucky, you may even see a Baby Jordan jersey and Harold Miner.
Harold Miner.
I mean,
Can we pull that Ronnie Cycli jersey out of the?
Yeah, or Sherman Douglas. I mean, you may see these jerseys. Tell me somebody else in Atlanta's the last superstar that Atlanta had. I can tell you who it is. 30 years ago.
Dominique.
Okay. Oh, by the way, Alonzo Mourning should also be in that group. I forgot about you. You'd see Mourning jerseys too. You see Pete Maravich jerseys, you see Trae Young jerseys, and you see Dominique Wilkins jerseys. That's it. So if you're going to trade one of the two, you have to deal. Now, trading Trae Young would get you more. Trading Trae Young would be better off for your team, salary-wise and probably functionality-wise. And I don't think they'll do it. And
You think they'll trade?
Well, I think they'll try, but they're going to be stuck in this. Would they have traded DeJounte Murray at the deadline this year if they had gotten what they wanted?
Sure.
Right, and they couldn't get what they wanted. So why would next year be any different?
No, I think look. The Lakers, I know, desperately want Trae Young, but I don't think they have anything to offer.
Well, at the NBA draft this year, they have access now instead of to one pick, they have 3 picks. They unlock 3 picks because of the Sefrin rule, so they can get more picks. So they can trade 3 first-round picks for Trae Young, or for DeJounte Murray, or anybody else that they want. I still think Trae Young to the Spurs is the best of all situations.
You've said that before.
I still think it is.
Why?
So Trae Young doesn't play defense. We know that, right?
Sure.
Okay. They got this guy in the middle that plays a lot of defense. Okay?
Artis Gilmore?
Yes.
Okay.
Except about 3 inches taller than Artis and about 40
and less of a he doesn't have the throw that Artis has.
And 45 years younger, if not 55 years younger.
Okay.
Okay. So Wemby covers for bad guard play, right? Bad defensive guard play. Atlanta, why do I think that this trade works, or why do I think that Trae Young works? Because they're different.
You make the trade if you're San Antonio. Do you see Trae Young? Do you see Greg Popovich coaching Trae Young? Generationally, do you see that as a fit?
You have to find, if you are San Antonio, you have to find a young player, right? Not that can grow with Wemby, that will figure it out. And Trae Young, while has been in the league forever, right, is Trae Young, I believe, is like 27 years old. I mean, he is, right? Actually, he's 25. I mean, he feels like he's been in the league for 13 years. He's 25 years old. He's 25. So he has played more defense this year than he has in the past. If you could put Trae Young at the 1, figuratively the 2, right? Because he's real. I mean, he averages 10.8 assists, but whatever. Okay. Do you truly unlock the middle for Wemby? With the range that he has offensively, you unlock everything that's inside. Everything. He can bring the ball up. You don't need a guy that does that. If the ball's in his hands, And you know what? If he misses, you got that big guy in the middle that can go get a rebound for you. You just need to surround Wemby with shooters. And what better shooter than him? Look, I'm not a huge Trae Young fan. I would not want Trae Young to be on my team because I don't have Victor Wembanyama on my team. But if I could put Devin Vassell on one side, who is a great defensive player, if I could put Wembanyama in the middle, and I have Trae Young as my third at 25, I got a 25-year-old, a 23-year-old, and a 19-year-old. Those guys are growing, and they will work together. And the thing why this trade works, Seth, is all Atlanta would be doing is getting their crap back.
Sean and Kelly and Robin's media both as well.
You wouldn't need
one second, Sean.
You wouldn't need to add anything because the DeJounte Murray trade is what. So San Antonio got all of their picks, all of Atlanta's picks in the DeJounte Murray trade. So it was Danilo Gallinari and multiple first-round picks, but those first-round picks are coming due. They haven't been played yet. So you can definitely just trade them back. Just give them back. And in my opinion, they have to make this trade. They have to get rid of one of these two guys. And I think you saw DeJounte Murray was a superstar with this team. You saw that DeJounte Murray only earns about $25 million. And if you look at their salary cap for next year, and you know this team does not like to pay that tax, next year they are paying Trae Young $43 million and paying DeJounte Murray $25 million. That's a big deal. So I think this is going to happen. I'm not sure it goes to San Antonio. I'm not sure it goes to LA. I'm interested in Seth's point on how this works in LA. I quite frankly don't understand. I understand the fascination with LeBron wanting him, but I don't see how that works. When you look at what San Antonio has in their bucket, as far as salaries to absorb that $43 million. They have Vassell next year at 29, Keldon Johnson at 19. Seth's waving me back. Here he is.
I was doing it for like 2 minutes. That was pretty funny.
I got you, buddy. I got you. This is what I'm looking at. I mean, I'd love to know how Trae Young works in with the Lakers. I don't think that works at all. I think that's a horrible mix. I mean,
it feels like just a massive talent with no cohesion.
I think there are two places where Trae Young works. One is Philly and one is San Antonio. You need a guy in the middle that not only absorbs the middle, but can cover you on defense. There just aren't that many of those players. And I mean, I wouldn't want him in New York at all. And not because I love my point guard now, but I wouldn't want him in New York anyway.
You do love your point guard.
I do. It's very hard not to like Jalen Brunson.
I agree.
It is extremely difficult not to like Jalen Brunson. And like I was saying, they have the room in San Antonio with Devin Vassell next year earning $30 million and Keldon Johnson earning $19 million. Maybe you trade Keldon Johnson and the 2 first-round picks that you got for DeJounte Murray for Trae Young. And that solves this. So Atlanta gets back their picks, right? So they can suck and suck and suck and reap the benefits of them sucking, as opposed to right now, all their picks. Oh, the Nets are similar. All their picks are buried. I mean, the worst place you can be in the NBA is a bad team without your own picks, because then you just suck and you don't get the benefits of the tanking. So, all right. So Milwaukee's banged up. Giannis probably going to sit out the last 3 games. Can't imagine him coming back before the playoffs, even though they're. Do you have any faith in this Milwaukee team making a run? Any?
It's kind of hard to. I mean, they just haven't melded. I've always really liked Doc Rivers as an announcer. I've never loved him as a coach. It doesn't feel like they're about to make a run. There's no team out there that really makes you feel comfortable in the East, except for Boston. And yes, a healthy Philly would be my number 2 team.
Yeah. And so of these teams, I obviously I think Boston is going to make the finals. I said that at the beginning of the year. It was going to be Boston and Denver. I have no faith in Milwaukee. Like you said, and I could hear it in your voice before you said it that New York is a nice story. Like I just heard it because I was like, they are. If healthy, they'd be a much, much nicer story. I mean, Julius Randle is a huge loss, not necessarily in the regular season, but certainly in the playoffs.
Yes.
The Magic are going to be a fun team to watch, but I have no confidence in them.
Well, they'll be a fun team to watch because nobody's ever seen them play.
Right. Well, I meant that they have no ability to score.
No, unless Ben Caro is going to average 3,700 a game. No.
Right. The Cavs are going to be the next team that's broken up, Seth.
Feels that way.
I don't know where they go, but I mean, let me ask you. So the Cavs need to reset, right? Next year, Donovan Mitchell comes and says, "You know what? I'm not re-signing." Okay, so he's got one more year on that contract, which means this summer they're trading Donovan Mitchell, right? If he doesn't re-sign.
Yes.
All right, so we just talked about Trae Young in San Antonio. You feel Donovan Mitchell's a much better fit.
I do like that fit a bit better. I also like Donovan Mitchell as I like him more as a player.
Yes.
Because although he's not the passer that Trae Young is, he's a much better defender when motivated. And yeah, I mean,
there has to be a star, a guy that is on a contract or up for a contract that looks at San Antonio and says, I'm going to hitch my wagon to that guy.
Yeah, but I don't think it's Donovan Mitchell.
Okay.
Donovan Mitchell strikes me as a guy who wants a big city.
Okay. Well, I will tell you right now, I
he's
hope
a
it's
big city guy who's played in Utah and Cleveland.
I hope it's not New York. Because
depends what you give up to get him.
No, it doesn't, because I got my alpha guy number 1.
But the question is, does your alpha guy win you a title? And I'm not saying Mitchell wins you a title as your number 2.
Does Mitchell make me enough better than what I got?
Depends what you give up.
Because, well, no, they can't. Look, those two cannot be the backcourt at all. There's no defense in that. They're both 6'1", 6'2". Like that.
No, Mitchell's bigger than that, I think. Could be wrong.
I'm looking it up right now. I think he is 6'1", 6'2". But hold on. Donovan Mitchell, here we go. He is 6'3". I am sorry. He's 6'3".
Okay, I'm wrong.
Yeah, 6'3" and 6'2" guy. Okay,
Yeah.
great. Like, that's not a backcourt in the NBA anymore.
Yep.
So, okay, so you got those two guys. So, does he improve the Knicks? Take out Jalen Brunson, put in Donovan Mitchell. Does the Knicks be that much better? In my opinion, there's a very small delta between A and B. It does make you better. You're paying a lot more money, and you have to go get Donovan Mitchell to begin with. No, I hope he's not our guy. So, okay, so let's play this game. Who is going to hitch his wagon to Wemby then? There's got to be a guy. There's got to be a young superstar or a young guy. Maybe not at a superstar level. Maybe at a Franz Wagner level, right? Who's just barely under that. Brunson from last year, 2 years ago, would have been that guy, right? Who's that guy? Because I don't think there's a guy there. I don't think there's a guy that's going to go that route. I mean, the Celtics don't have him. I mean, Drew Holiday could go there, but I don't think that does anything for you.
No, it doesn't.
Have him. The Knicks don't have him. The Magic have a plethora of young guys. Maybe Jalen Suggs.
Jalen Suggs isn't a star. He's okay.
Okay, so Donovan Mitchell or Darius Garland? Either one of them. I mean,
Yeah.
Garland signed a new contract, but if Mitchell re-signs, you could trade Garland for those picks, for those
Sure.
DeJounte Murray picks. Indiana, Halliburton ain't going anywhere.
No,
70s,
Siakam's not the right player.
Tyrese Maxey, he's a free agent after this year. Oh,
That makes sense,
oh.
especially if they try and get young.
Okay, so the Heat got nobody, the Bulls got nobody, the Hawks got nobody except for Trae Young. The Nets, look, Mikal Bridges forces a trade. He's not a guard though. Like to me, that has to be a guard. It has to be a guy with the ball. Scotty Barnes, LaMelo Ball.
LaMelo Ball can't stay healthy.
That would be fun, Seth. That would be fun.
It'd be a blast.
I think I'd enjoy watching that. The Pistons don't have anybody except Killian Hayes, who no longer is on that team.
So they don't have
No Wolves, no Nuggets. Shea's not going anywhere. No Clippers, no Magic, no Pelicans, no Suns. Suns don't have anybody under 40. The Kings, no. The Lakers, no. The Warriors, no. The Rockets, Jalen Green, if they're eventually going to trade him. That's not bad either. But he takes it to – he's not a shooter. He takes the ball. The Jazz, no. Marketing would be fun too. The Grizzlies, John Morant would be fun. I mean, he's not going anywhere either, but that would be fun. The Trailblazers, who knows what they have. And then the Spurs. I think there's maybe only 2 or 3 guys. I mean, that's about it. Yeah. So, okay. Have you watched any baseball this year at all?
I watched the Juan Soto throw out in the first game of opening day against Houston.
So you've watched no baseball?
Right, because there's no pitchers left, so there's no real baseball anyway.
I was going to say that's true. And you heard that the A's are no longer playing in Oakland after this year.
Yeah, they're going to Sacramento, aren't they?
Going to Sacramento to play in Vivek Stadium, the Kings owner stadium, 17,000 people. I have a question for you before we go into our last 5. Can you tell me the approximate average amount of fans that watched an Oakland Athletic game the last 3 years? I think you'd be shocked.
In person or in person?
At the stadium, what has been their average attendance the last 3 years?
24,000.
9,000 people.
Not surprised. I was originally going to say 12. So,
but that's still 3,000. I mean, to me, that is shocking.
Well, you have a team that has not been competitive in 20 years.
No, I get it, but I mean, go to a game there. We've been to a game there. It was
really, really hot.
I mean, that's paid tickets. That's not even people showing up. 9,000. Can you imagine sitting in that stadium? It's huge. To sit in that stadium with only 8,000 other people. And anyway, okay. The other baseball note was Jackson Holliday got called up today, the number 1 prospect in the major leagues. And the funny thing is the Norfolk Oriole, the farm team, the Norfolk Tides, which used to be the Mets, right? Their OPS is still unreal. Even with the number 1 player going back, they have like 7 players with over 1 on the OPS.
Really?
The Orioles are going to be stacked for the next 3 to 4 years. So it's going to be just call up after call up after call up. If they're pitching, look, they got Corbin Burns this year in the trade. If their pitching holds up, this is a mini dynasty waiting to happen. At the right time, too, where Peter Angelos unfortunately passes away, but sells the team. So hopefully they'll spend money to get it done. Okay, last 5. Seth, you're up. Go.
I think you have to start with, first of all, congratulations to Dawn Staley in South Carolina, who's 82-1 in their last 83. But what does it say when that game Iowa, South Carolina outdraws the men's championship by 4 million people.
It says that the game was much more exciting.
Yes, it was. Part of it was Caitlin Clark.
Yes.
Part of it is you have a dynasty. You have dynasties in both because UConn's went back to back. It's not a dynasty, but it's a heck of a run. But people know who. If you follow women's basketball, I'm not a diehard. You have continuity. People know who these guys are. They know who Paige Bruckers is. They know who Cameron Brink was. They know who Juju Watkins. Nobody knows who the hell any of these guys are. When you have 1,000 people going from portal to portal, going through the portal, there's no loyalty to the team. You don't have any feel for it. You don't really care. And when you have the dynasties, when you had that Final Four, that great combination of teams, and it was exhilarating. It was wonderful to watch. Congrats to women's basketball. Hope it keeps up.
So you stole mine. Congrats. Well done. I think this is the first time you stole mine. Good job. But agreed. And I'll second that. Congratulations to women's basketball because you got me watching every game of the Final Four and both games of the Final Four and the final game when I was sitting at lunch and sitting at brunch. Like, you got me involved. And while I consider myself a little bit more of a sports fan than most people, right? So you're not looking to get me. You're looking to get a little bit less than me on the spectrum, on the sports.
There is nothing less than you, Sean.
Thank you so much for that. I think you accomplished the fact that I can name 3 or 4 players on Iowa and 3 or 4 players on Connecticut and 3 or 4 players on South Carolina. I can't name anybody on the men's team except for Purdue at all. Like, I don't know anybody. 2. I know Klingon and I know Edie, and that's it.
How about Tristan Newton?
I couldn't have told you him until look. I recognize the name. That's why I'm saying. I recognize the name, but you wouldn't have gotten me there. So congrats to that. Absolutely well deserved. I do not agree with Brianna Stewart. I'm sorry. You do not need to earn a chip to be in the greatest conversation. I think the chip is a team event. And if you want to tell me that Pete Maravich is not one of the greatest players in NBA history, I got a problem. If you want to tell me that Jerry West or Elgin Baylor are not in that conversation.
Jerry West won a championship, buddy.
Elgin Baylor is not in that conversation. I got a problem. If you want to tell me that Ted Williams is not one of the greatest hitters of all time, I got a problem. It's a team sport. It is a team sport. She brought an Iowa team who had never been there to 2 consecutive finals. She's one of the greatest of all time. Is she the greatest of all time? Good luck having that conversation. We can't do that in any sport at any time. So
yeah,
good luck.
I do think there is something to, you have to make the Final Four.
I agree with that.
I don't think you can be twice out in the Sweet 16.
I agree with that. I agree with that, but the problem I have is you asked the woman. Now, Brianna Stewart may be the greatest college basketball player, female of all time. She won 4 chips. She was the 4 MVPs, but she didn't do it alone. She went to UConn. Put Brianna Stewart on UConn with Paige Buchers, and I guarantee you she's winning a championship. But you can't do that. You can't. Anyway, Seth Kamens, Sean Palmer. Next week, tax season is over, baby, and Seth is concentrating on the show.
I am. Next week, our NFL preview. Next week, NFL preview. 2 weeks, NFL preview. Next week, Tuesday night show, because I'm driving down to D.C. on Wednesday.
Let's do it. Tuesday night. Have a good week, everybody. See you.